Travis Wingoodsell. I was hoping, before I get assaulted by assassins of the church today, to do a Sunday school lesson video for you in advance of this week's lesson. If you noticed, the church purposely put the Exodus, or at least the plagues that set up for the Exodus, for conference weekend. And so only the Sunday school president talked about it. And of course, he didn't really go into detail like I did. How many videos did I do for that? Man Like Moses Exodus series. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then 2 of them that covers it, but 4 technically. But my goodness, 38 minutes for the first one, hour 22 minutes, then an hour 58 minutes, and then 2 hours and 7 minutes to cover the topic in great detail. And so you need to know this is my field. I went into it as an education, not just being born and raised Mormon, so now I know everything, because my spiritual witness tells me the truth. No. And it's not, oh, I went to Bible school. No, it was science-based. It's anthropology of the ancient Middle East. The guidance counselor, she didn't even know that biblical Hebrew and Greek and Latin were classical languages. Biblical Hebrew technically is Dark Ages, but yeah, she called it ancient languages on my graduation thing, the minor that I got in ancient languages. And so it doesn't matter. I wasn't concerned about getting degrees. I wanted the education. That was what was important to me. And so I selected the courses to learn what I wanted to learn, rather than conforming and complying to a degree field. And there wasn't a degree for that, and so the guidance counselor had to create one so that I can graduate. I wasn't even interested in graduating, but I'm experienced, not just educated. I've gone on to decipher Paleo-Hebrew. I've gone on to fill in the blanks that Egyptologists have left behind of the rest of the Egyptian characters that they don't think needs to be translated. Oops. So facsimile number 1 for the Book of Abraham. Yeah, Egyptologists don't translate that because they don't have the sign lists of those designated signs. And so they don't translate it. It needs to be translated. It's speaking to us. It's telling us information. And Joseph Smith knew this and put it in Abraham chapter 1. But it's incomplete. There's more than what even Joseph talked about. So, with that, I've gone on to do other discoveries and accomplishments because of that. But with the advent of the end of the world, my publications have all been put on hold. And so I was able to get out the Paleo-Hebrew script decipherment, but not the vocabulary, not demonstrations of translations and such. as well as Egyptian stuff. I was able to do small, tiny books because Amazon allows for a minimum of 24 pages. So I did what I could, but when it became time for the latter days, I knew I had to dedicate my whole time to that, because I'm the only one who searched for that for my education. Anthropology of the Ancient Middle East covers that subject. And so there's some interesting, curious, weird stuff going on in the signs in the heavens with scriptures regarding the next phase for this Sunday's lesson. And I wanted to go over that with you guys. And especially with the timing of all of this, it was when I was furious with the church in the Saturday or Sunday morning session, so much fury that I didn't even dare do a review video and just put in the 1 minute 45-second clip instead, because I knew I was going to have a slip of the tongue. And was able to regroup sufficiently to then give a concluding video. Only one person in 14 minutes for the day after video? Come on, guys, sex trafficking. Perfect song in the description below. And so, yeah, after I did that concluding video, I then went, oh, okay, I see what's going on. And then I went, oh, wait, oh, that's weird. Okay, I need this, oh, this has to do with the Sunday school lesson. Oh, okay, we need to go over this. But there are lots of comments, mostly from Oksana. How you doing? But we'll do a part 2 comment reply video here, and hopefully get to a Sunday school lesson. I'm not sure if I will. Depends on how early in the morning they want to attack me by orders of the church. I called out the church. I was still pissed. You can see I'm furious still in that concluding video. They demand religious freedom, refuse to give it. Let's just put it that way. And so, the one guy, I already approved it. He said agree 100%, so I can't remember his name. I would have to click on this video to go back to find this that he was commenting on. But it was last year's April conference, 1 month before video, that became a bombshell video, breakout video, which is number 4 still. Yeah, still number 4, 3.4K. Really didn't get a boost this year like it did for October. For October last year, it was up around 2,000 something, and put it over into 3.3 thousand. And so there wasn't much added to this April one. But the polygamy video, oh hell yeah. It got put into the top 10. Yeah, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, it's number. It might even. Oh man. Yeah, it's in the top 10. They haven't adjusted its ranking yet, but my book of Esdras, is right there in competition with it. And so that's that with that. And so Oksana, she notices my ring, and I'm going to have the camera up so I can see that I'm doing it. She asks, though, isn't that the morning star? Venus is the morning star. How many points does the Venus star have? 5. Not 6. 5. It is not the morning star. I knew that was going to be a problem. It is the Star of David. 6 points. It is the 2 deltas together. Why delta? David. 2 D's. Double D's. Yes, think sexually, because they did. It was for nurturing as well as for sexual sex. Are you ready for the sex, girls? Because if the church wins, you're going to have to give up the love. And they'll most likely separate the indoctrination lessons for the youth, so that girls' school and boys' school, so that we never know that there's another sex. Don't be surprised. Handmaid's Tale to the extreme. But this is 3 letters. It's not just the deltas combined into the sun. Why is it the sun? Isaiah talks about a child being born, a descendant of David, and his name shall be Emmanuel. Not Jesus, Emmanuel. Amen, El. Amen is the Egyptian sun god at noonday. That is the Jewish concept of Christ. Moses is that guy. In the book of Genesis, Joseph is that guy. The whole story from the creation down to Joseph is all about Joseph. He's the Christ of Genesis. That's the hero story of Genesis. All the stories are setting up for the birth of Joseph. Exodus is a completely separate book. The hero in that one is named Moses. But the Jews in 800 to 1000 CE destroyed the original text, added in, took away, and then combined the books together. So it's the 5 books of Moses. So Joseph is no longer the Christ hero. Moses is. Because it's not about Joseph now, it's now about Moses. Notice the Book of Mormon and Joseph Smith, they talk about Joseph prophesying of Moses, but also of Joseph, and also a man like Moses, from Deuteronomy 18. I saw that comment, we'll get to it. And so no, this is not Lucifer's morning star of Venus. Only people who are hateful of the Jews associate the Jewish star with Lucifer. It's the inverted pentagram of Lucifer, and it's on the keystone of the Salt Lake Temple, in case you were wondering. But the circle around it, that's the universal symbol of the sun. In Paleo-Hebrew, it represents both the sun and the moon. Greek have the separate sun sign, Omega. In Paleo-Greek, it was the universal symbol of the sun with the circle around it and the dot in the middle. In Chinese, it's squared with a little slash thing through the middle for sun. Same symbol, it's just altered according to their writing style. Because the Chinese migrated out of Egypt. It was a long, long time ago, but they come from Egypt. And so the language was carried to China, where they altered it, Reformed Egyptian. Chinese is Reformed Egyptian. And they did combo glyphs by combining characters within characters. That's Chinese. So it's not about speaking it. It's about picture glyphs that have ideological meaning on multiple levels of translation, not just a simple word to explain it. That's the de-evolution of the language, to simplify a complex picture meaning down to one word. Yeah, no, picture is worth literally 1,000 words. And so with the sun symbol as a prefix determinative, remember I deciphered Paleo-Hebrew. It's now the word for the restoring prophet from Deuteronomy of David's kingdom. Emmanuel, sun god. So I hope that explains it for you. And I will not be approving that because you asked if it's the morning star. But you didn't know. Alright. So then Oksana asks, how do I know that Gog is Russia? Gog and Magog. They are the children, the boys, which thus the king descent. Those are the kingless. Notice how there are no wives. Notice how there are no sisters or daughters. There's a reason for that. It's because it's the king's list. It's not a genealogy. Even though they say it's a genealogy, they're wrong. Gog and Magog come from Noah's firstborn birthright son, who had his birthright blessing usurped by Shem, the name. Literally, the name. That story, the Noah story, comes from the Og-Dod creation glyph of the Egyptians. Shem is Amen, the sun at noonday. But Japheth was given the territory of Europe and Russia. Specifically Gog and Magog, given Russia. And so Ezekiel 38, talking about Gog and Magog, the big war, yeah, Russia. And so when you read the book of Revelation, it talks about Gog and Magog, but it also talks about Armageddon, and it also talks about Jerusalem and the Jews, and Jesus, and dragons, and flying horses, and frogs, and beasts. It's because the book of Revelations is apocalyptic literature imagery. It's not a real story about actual dragons, as much as that show was pretty awesome, and yet kind of left us wanting at the end of it. But they're doing a prequel, I guess. I'll probably never get to see it. But nonetheless, you need to know your earlier stories for what they're talking about. And so when they talk about the War of Armageddon, the last day's battle, and notice how Nelson couldn't say it. He said, well, yeah, there were prophesied to be wars and rumors of wars. No, Nelson, it's the war that you paid for because you knew about it, because that was Bruce R. McConkie that wrote the chapter heading. And you know there's going to be a Holocaust. A nuclear Holocaust. And you paid for it. You paid for it with tithing to Putin for a temple as a cover story. And so that's how I know Gog is Russia. Because that's how Christians know it, because it's in the Bible. So, and yes, the church pisses me off because of how evil they are. They want us dead. They want the men to die so that they can have their pick of the choicest of the surviving women. Alright, so I'll approve that one, but notice that the video is your reply. So for Biden declares LDS church prophets war criminals. Oksana says, yeah, but they gave him the money like 2 years ago. Yeah, it doesn't matter when you give the money. The fact is they gave the money. No, they did. Like I said, they knew. It's in their scriptures. Bruce R. McConkie put it in. They've been talking about it all this time. This book right here. I exposed it. The church destroyed me. And as I'm having to face some physical threats today because of it. So yes, they know. They're not innocent. They're not dumb. They purposely know what they're doing. They have planned this for 200 years. They are the Illuminati with the inverted pentagram of Lucifer. Alright, so for grandparents of Mormon men like Moses, you instead want to talk about the fan. Okay. Yeah, the church destroyed me. I'm having to live in a place that doesn't have central air anymore. I grew up with central air. And now for the first time in my life, I don't have central air. The church has ruined me. Destroyed me. But, yeah, she says, we only say something about the fan because it's hard to hear you. I know this. It's the church's fault. Blame the church. Yeah, I understand. I'm rich. I was rich. I'm not rich anymore. I was rich. I know what it's like. I know. The richer you are, the further you fall. I'm well aware. I think we all have it better than you. Are you condemning me, Oksana? We want to hear you. That's why we watch. Be careful. You just need to understand the church wants me dead. I don't think you guys fully grasp that. You understand. Nelson, silence him. Take care of him. Make him an offer he can't refuse. It'd be a shame to lose all your property, Travis, with some kind of accident. These guys are crime bosses. They use the same exact tactics. And people who don't know this are in a bubble world. The church tells you, don't watch R-rated movies. Well, where are all the gang movies from? They're in R-rated movies. And you quit? Oh, okay, wait a minute. Dana K. Alright. I need to take a break. My breakfast is speaking to me. I remember the press conference that Nelson held to announce that he's now the president of the church, in which Peggy Fletcher Stack was one of the reporters that got to ask a question that was pre-scripted, so that they could have it on the screen, the reply on the screen to read from. The whole event was staged. But Peggy, before she was able to ask her question, Nelson says, "I know your family." We go way back. You can't do that. Yeah, that's a crime boss threatening you to behave, reminding you of your family. And so she didn't behave. She snuck in an extra question. That, of course, was not on the script, and thus they did not answer it, and thus she had to, what about the second question? And they're like, and Oakes, let me handle this. So, yeah, these guys are evil. And it's frustrating, but, yeah. So, Dana Kay, to second session review, LDS April 2022 General Conference, she says, "I quit, you're giving the information too slow." Really? Too slow? You want me to be different? You're doing an ad hominem attack, and then you go, "Sounds like AOC"? Wow, there's your hate crime for you. We'll hide you rather than report you, Dana Kay. And so, Oksana, my goodness, you're watching all my videos. LDS Church President to silence Mormon women for April 2022 General Conference. Not many on that one, but did I not call it? We're going to change Saturday sessions to be whatever we want. And it can be women's groups, but it can also be men's groups. Hilarious. Oh, you've seen it? How could you bear through the whole show? I couldn't watch past the first episode. I was too traumatized. Oh my goodness. She says, "I have watched Handmaid's Tale, and it was horrible. Good thing my..." You then become a slave. If you can't do it, you become a slave. That's the whole problem with the video I just did, which only 1 in 40 minutes. LDS Church exposed worldwide as bigots covering up sex trafficking. Where are you guys? Did you party all night? You see, the women who weren't able to were the slaves. And the wives, they couldn't. And so they had to get the handmaids to, yeah. So, if you're not a wife, you're going to be a slave in the system. But, yeah, all the priesthood boys, all men who are attacking me on behalf of the church with the thumbs down and the hate comments, guys, the devil does not support his own. You have to be a leader. And you're going to try to fight other Mormons to try to be a leader, to destroy their lives, to make you look better in front of the leadership, to be advanced. Because that's what it will cause. It'll cause a survival of the fittest. And in order to be a survivor, you have to be a leader. And the higher up a leader you are, the more righteous you are, and the more prosperous you are, and the more wives you get. And so the majority of you, do you understand this? The majority of you will not get to keep your wives. You'll be dead if you do survive, if you don't survive. But if you do survive, you won't be able to keep your wife if a leader desires her, because you have to be a slave. Have you not seen the movies? Man in the Iron Mask. The guy is engaged to be married, and oops, Leonardo DiCaprio likes her instead. And so he sends the boy to the war, and yeah, oh, I'll take care of you now that he's dead. And then she finds out that she was betrayed and lied to, and she hangs herself. And I burst out crying at that scene. And then the ending where they go running down the chamber with the rifles blasting brings me to utter tear ruin. But this is the kind of life that the church is setting up for the millennial reign of happiness and peace, after God's Lucifer's plan of happiness. The inverted pentagram tells you all you need to know, guys. And so, yeah, this kind of personal information, Oksana, I'm gonna not approve this. All right, so Oksana again, and then the rest are other people. LDS prophets wash their hands of Mormons in LDS church. Yeah, the church abandoned the Mormons in Russia and in Ukraine. We just got news yesterday about Dunbar, the Dunbar region. They gave up on Ukraine, or Kiev, but we've now found mass graves. And the citizens, not Ukrainian military, citizens were bound, raped, and executed. Mormons were left behind. There are 11,000 Mormons in Ukraine. The church is responsible. Oh dear God. The devil does not support his own. So, Oksana says, dude, my whole family, mom and dad, brothers, sisters, sold their houses and now live in RVS. I'm not sure what that is. Bought 44 acres of land to build their own homes. Have a farm as a family, as a home. I swear they are all nuts. Sounds like they were smart. Some backstory, I guess, I don't know. They keep trying to get my husband and I to sell and move back to Cali. You're a Cali girl, huh? And we won't. And you live in Alabama now, huh? Alrighty. Whew. And so, the concluding review. Vicki Daniels. She even had to edit this. To what death threat do you refer? My death threat? I expose the church. They want me dead. That death threat. And so then Vicki is apparently living in fantasy world, bubble community. Celestial marriage can only happen with the consent of willing hearts of Heavenly Father's daughters. LDS Church exposed worldwide as bigots covering up sex trafficking. Notice the cover, or the thumbnail. It's got Allison Mack. She has to be inserted into the picture. Why? Supergirl's there. I feel much anger from the voice in this video. Good! Because there was. You're living in delusional land, Vicki. I'm hiding you from my channel because you are not comprehending and appreciating the seriousness. And so now you go to My Mormon Journey and you put oops and you're laughing hilariously. Now you get reported for abuse. And then you then went to the existence of the Mormon God. And Vicki then put, looks like roses at the end. And she says, interesting that you are the only one who clicks on you most often. And I have no idea what those are. I hover over it. It doesn't tell me what they are. They're red things. So apparently the Book of Mormon has not given Vicki that mighty change of heart to no longer desire to be wicked and to do good continually. Well done, Vicki. You have proven the point that the prophets incite you to hate. And so Mortimus 1000, I'm sure that's your real name, huh, Mortimus? It was only 18 minutes ago when I clicked on this. It's for the second session review. And then he goes, Abba Yah speaks to Moshe in Deuteronomy chapter 18, verse 18. 15. But also 18, but 15 is where it starts. I will raise up a prophet like you, Moshe, through thy brethren, and this, all caps now till the end, one you must shama him, hear and obey him. So the question is, what the hell are you talking about? See, this is what criminal organization bosses do. They throw something out and it's a veiled threat. But the question is, who are you saying is Moshe that we're supposed to listen to? Are you saying that we're supposed to listen to some man like Moshe who speaks the Torah only? Are you saying that Oaks, who's on the thumbnail, saying obey me, is the Moshe we're supposed to listen to? Or are you actually saying it's me? You're not making yourself clear. And I'm guessing it's Oaks. Because you put all caps that I must hear and obey him. And so, since you seem to claim to be an expert on the man like Moses, is Dallin H. Oaks the fulfillment of prophecy? So, is his name Sun God? Let's find out. Oaks isn't. Baby name, meaning, boys, Dallin. From the valley. Nope. Nope. Dallin H. Oaks does not qualify as the man like Moses. He does not have the right name. He's like Jesus. Wrong name, not him. Move on. But maybe H. Harris. That sounds like it would be Sun God. Son of Harry. What does Harry mean? Estate ruler. Not quite. Dear God, he must have a big head. So automatically I have dismissed Dallin H. Oaks as the prophesied man like Moses for the Mormons. You see how it works? You're supposed to go through the prophecies, create a checklist. That's why I do the video series and other videos, but I made them a playlist recently about the Mormon man like Moses. I give you his birth with accompanying sign in heaven. I give you the name by which he is to be known. I go over his baptism. I go over his patriarchal blessing. I go over his temple endowment. It is prophesied where and when he goes through the temple for his endowment. And the new name is prophesied. And I go over that in multiple sources. I did another one for that. But then the Sunday school lesson for March 27th covered the prophecies because it's dealing with Moses. And then I'm throwing in some other stuff. I'm not sure coming full circle should belong here. That's what happens to me. I start a playlist and then I don't keep going with it because nobody's interested, and so then I end up just throwing anything in it. But then the Sunday school lesson, introduction to the man like Moses, and then other, that whole series was put in here for yesterday's lesson for Sunday school that was skipped. So, but I've talked in videos explaining the marriage situation for him. He's supposed to be divorced twice. Did you know that? No, of course not. You didn't even know he was supposed to be Mormon. A human. And so, yeah, there are prophecies that must be fulfilled. Oaks does not fulfill them. Nelson does not fulfill them. None of the prophets fulfill them. I did that video. I don't remember the title, but I went over each and every one of the prophets. Nope. Nope. Close. One was born in Redwood, I think. Redwood, California. Close. Nope. Did you know that that's close? Why is that close? Why is oaks close? Having to do with redwoods. Oaks. Redwoods. It's because you don't understand the anthropology of the ancient world. Jupiter, as well as the Egyptians, from which everything comes from. So, alrighty.